All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
Welcome back to another episode of Reignite Resilience. I am your co-host, Natalie Davis, and I am joined with your co-host, Pam Cass. Hey, Pam, how are you?
I am fabulous. I wish people could know the struggles behind the podcasting in the world.
Start a podcast, they say. It'll be easy, they say.
It's easy. It's totally fine.
I guess no one says that it's easy.
No.
There's an element of complexity that's added to the podcast world when you start to have guests on. And it's interesting because the last couple of sessions that we've had set for recordings, our guests have absolutely no-showed. And it puts us in a little bit of a pickle because, we're already prepared to talk to them. We know all about them. We know where we're going in that discussion. And then when we wait and the waiting room is empty and we have no idea where they are, and then Pam and I just look at each other. We're like, okay, what do you want to talk about?
And we're like, okay, well, let's just talk about this.
And I guess we're going to talk about this. Exactly. Well, and we are recording this on a Monday. And first of all, let's just talk about resiliency in its finest, because I completely rearranged my Monday to ensure that I would be here for recording. I had a couple of coaching calls today that I needed to be in place for. I was getting a new storm door installed at my house that, contractors were scheduled to come out. And so I wrapped up a weekend camping trip 12 hours early, got home yesterday, and I said, you know what? I'm at home. I'm great. I'm ahead of my schedule. I'm here for whoever needs to get access to the house. I'm here for my clients. I'm here for the show. And it has been one thing after another.
I feel like that's always how it is, best laid plans. And sometimes it doesn't matter how well prepared you think you are. There's always some sort of monkey wrench that gets thrown in there. And then you're just like, pivot,
100% pivot. And I should have known that today was going to be an interesting day. It started out, I was going to have contractors here to install this door. And let me tell you, I have been in the process of working with this big box store. I'm not going to name them because I don't need to give them any type of additional advertising. For at least 8 weeks. No, it's longer than that because it took them 6 weeks to come out and measure it. For an extended period of time, I've been working with them, and all I want is just a screen door on my front door. Nothing elaborate, nothing wild and crazy. I go in to check the status of the door one day a few weeks ago, and the gal at customer service says, "Oh, that's interesting. This order was canceled." And I said, "By whom?"
Interesting. Because I'm a party of one.
Exactly.
Canceled it.
By whom? And she's like, "Well, it looks like your service person canceled it. I'm not sure why they would have done that." I said, "Well, I still, in fact, want the door. Let's make it happen." And then I get a quick call right away, right? I go in, they fix it. They're like, "We're on it. We're going to make it happen." I get a call and they're like, "We're going to schedule it for Monday. Does that work for you?" I said, "I can make it work because this has been a process in the making." I said, "I will make it work. I will be home on Monday so that you can get access." Well, the contractor, poor thing, bless his heart, calls me this morning. He's like, "Natalie?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, I don't know why they scheduled you to install your door. It's not going to be ready for another 2 weeks.
Oh, well, then there's that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, kind sir. I gave it 3.5 seconds to be frustrated and upset. And I said, "You know what? I don't have the energy to invest in being upset. It's fine. Call me when you're ready to reschedule. We're moving on, and I'm not giving it any more energy or thought. I have moved on." I could have spent some time in there, and I could have, the choice words that tried to make their way into my mind didn't escape that space. So here we are. Here, this is a Monday. It is a Monday of all Mondays.
Is a Monday of all Mondays. And I
Yes.
don't always like to give Monday that bad rap
I know.
because I hate going into a Monday saying, "Oh, it's a Monday," because then inevitably it becomes a Monday.
I usually
So
love Mondays,
I
right?
know
And it's
I do too because I'm very much a structure person and
yes.
weekends can tend to be a little loosey-goosey and I get a little bored and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get back. I'm ready to
Yeah.
get back to my structure and what I do. And so I
Yep.
typically love Mondays.
Yeah.
But yeah, every once in a while, just the universe just throws something right, a little
A little
curveball right at
curveball.
us.
Here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah. So we decided, we're like, all right, well, what are we going to talk about? And you went camping over the weekend,
I
and
did.
I thought, what a fun topic, especially because it's summertime and
Yes.
there are a lot of people out right now. I know this. I was up
Yeah.
in the mountains this weekend,
Yes.
and camping is a whole nother level of um, diversity, whatever you want to call it, because it
Fill in
is
the blank.
fill in the blank because it is so for me, and I think I speak for you, taking
Yes.
me out of my comfort zone
Oh,
where we have all of our stuff exactly
yes.
in order and then you're
Yes.
just thrown out into the wilderness and you have no idea what the world is going to be throwing at you. Spiders,
I
snakes,
wasn't on Naked and
things.
Afraid. I was
You were naked. Oh my God. Best worst series ever.
exactly, exactly. No, you know what? Here's the thing. I actually enjoy camping. I
I do
love
too.
breaking up the I like having that break in my
Yeah.
everyday because I too am very structured. I
Yep.
live and die by my schedule. And I think once you get out in nature, it's more of getting
Yeah.
into the synchronicities of the natural flow of time, right? And so everything starts when the sun comes up and you pretty much wrap it up by the time the sun goes down, right? There's no
Absolutely.
extra time to do extra things.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of in that confine, but for the most part, everything else is so fluid.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And
I do
I
too.
actually had moments where I just sat just looking out and enjoying nature and
Yeah.
taking it all in and just saying like I just love that it feels like a complete reset or a pause in
Yes.
that moment.
Yeah.
There were some tragic events that occurred over the weekend, unbeknownst to me, because I was in the
Yeah.
middle of the woods. I had no idea. And then as
Yeah.
soon as notifications came back on and
Yeah.
news updates started, and I was like, wait, this is first, is this my reality? Like, what has happened? What is going on in the world?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I just like the serenity of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not like Naked and Afraid. I feel like you just described Naked and Afraid. You're like, you're
No.
thrown out in the woods with no stuff.
No, and I was being a little
I
dramatic,
know.
but I mean,
Yes.
people who watch us, see us, we're put together. Like we're on
Yes.
stages, we're coaching, we're in real estate, so we're always kind of put together. And I'll remember I grew up camping. My dad was in the military when we were young. He would take off every Friday in the summer and he would take my brother and I camping. And so I have
Yes.
very fond memories. And so, like you, as soon as I get into the mountains or wherever we're going camping, I instantly just feel like this calm come over
Yes.
me where I'm like,
Yes.
there's no schedule. I can do and sit and whatever
Me?
I want, however long I
Yeah.
want, and
Yeah.
just reflect. And I think that's where some of the creativity and those ideas come to us. And so, yeah, it's just such a peaceful, great place because I have such great memories growing up.
Yes.
And I have
Yes.
hilarious stories of things that have happened on camping trips. And those are where the memories happen because I
That's
will never
yeah, those
forget some of
experiences
those.
create the memories, those moments that
Yes,
you never forget.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. That's
I love it.
I'd have to say. My partner Baron and I went camping and it's funny that I lost count of the number of times that he said the shit you talk me into.
I love it.
I did very little research. And if you listen to the prior podcast where Pam and I are talking about vacation, I don't like to be the planner. And
No.
so this was my idea. So I planned. And when I say planned, it was very loose with very little research. And so that
Oh,
just creates a higher sense of adventure.
absolutely.
We might have gone off-roading a time or four that we didn't know was going to happen. And we were not
With a
prepared for it
trailer.
with a with a trailer, but we did it.
But here's the thing, and I have a t-shirt that says this, but did you die?
But did you die?
No,
100%. That's
you
it.
didn't.
That's it.
Made you stronger,
It
and
makes you
you have
stronger.
funny
Yes.
stories to tell about it. And so I love
Absolutely.
that. I love it.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
remember because when I was in a leadership position, I was always very dressed up and put together when I would show up,
Yes.
and I remember the first time I was up camping and I took a picture of my ratty nasty tennis shoes that you wear when you camp because you're always
Yes.
going to get like black ash on them from the
Yes.
fire. And I took
Yes.
a picture of my feet like propped up and the fire behind it, and I posted it on social media. The number of comments from the agents were like, "You wait, you camp? Wait, you have shoes other than high heels? Wait, what?" And so I'm like,
Yes.
wow, people don't
Exactly.
even have
It's
any idea.
those biases that people have about us, right? It's like, oh
Yes.
wait, you would actually go into nature? Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. And
actually I would.
I've shown up to hike 14ers with groups from the office, and they look at me and they're like, part of me was thinking you were going to show up on high heels. And I'm
Oh,
like,
oh,
no,
I
not happening.
know.
Yes, those way. All
Those
right. So
days are
are,
gone.
yeah, those days are gone. So
Those are
tell
gone.
me, what are some of your favorite, because I know you camp, what are some of your favorite, funniest or whatever camping stories?
Oh gosh. It wasn't this trip. And I think, it was definitely a Colorado trip. And I think it was more humor that had to come out of PTSD.
Okay.
We
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
My family and I went camping down at Seven Lakes. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's, yeah, Seven Lakes.
Yep. Yep.
Believe that's what it's called, Southern
We'll
Colorado.
we'll say that's what
And
it's called.
yep, and super excited to get a campsite. Here's the thing for our listeners that are not Colorado based. Getting a campsite in
It's huge.
Colorado is challenging, and you really have to plan in advance. And so we were excited. This is a new space that we'd not camped. It's Southern Colorado, so we know that we're not going to be too exposed to the elements. It's more of a deserty feel
Hmm.
when you start to head down really south in Colorado. And the very first day that we get there, set up camp, and there are lakes there, and we make the food on the fire, the dog's with us. And there should have been like signs along the way that I was paying attention to. There was uh, was it a deer or an elk? It wasn't a moose. It might have been an elk. I think it was an elk
Okay.
that came so close to the campsite. When I say so close, it was probably 20 feet away from our
Oh,
campsite. So
okay.
close. And
Yeah,
our dog thinks that she's like
of
a
course. She's all
protector.
that. Yep.
Exactly. Well, in this case, she like froze. You know, right? It's fight, flight, freeze, or
Yep, froze.
so she froze. And she froze and she had no idea what to do. And I was like, you need to stay close to the campsite. Anyway, fast forward a couple of hours. The sun sets, you're having the fire, and then we start to hear this thunder, and we're like, that's interesting. It's fine. It's the end of the day, and we're not doing anything. We're just gonna head on into bed.
Hmm.
So the family gets all into the camp tent, and this is tent camping. So we're in the
Yep.
tent and
Oh, yeah.
all settled, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of pitter pattering on the top of the tent. It's starting to rain. Put the tent cover on. It's fine. And then it's a torrential downpour. And when I tell you there was a river running through the tent. And I'm a tent camper sleeping on the floor. I don't have a cot. That's very lovely.
Oh,
It's a great
I'm a cot.
concept. I am on the floor. And so I can feel this river just
Oh, gosh.
underneath my sleeping bag. And it is
Oh,
rushing through our
no.
campsite. And so pack everyone up, pack up the dog, get into the pickup truck. I am sitting in the front of the pickup truck with the dog on my lap.
Wet,
And we're
everybody.
all wet and hot, so the windows are all fogged
Steaming
up.
up.
And we're like, you know what? We'll wait it out. It's fine. It'll stop here soon. The famous last words. We
Hmm.
ended up sleeping the entire night in the pickup truck. Very uncomfortable. It was awful. It was the worst
Oh,
thing. I
no.
just, it was so bad. And the next morning, it's just, I mean, I am wringing everything out in the tent and I'm hanging
Oh,
it on every tree, on the top of the truck, wherever I can
yeah.
hang everything so that it dries. And
Yep.
so we go through the day and everything dries and I'm putting the tent and the campsite back together. And it's probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we hear thunder
Oh,
again.
no. No. Be like, we're out.
Exactly. How did you?
Because that's what I would have done. I'd be like, heck no, we're not doing this again.
We're done. We're done. So I have to say that that was probably the wildest experience because I mean, I've never gone camping. I've gone camping where it's rained and the
Yeah, but
temperatures
it doesn't
drop.
last long.
It doesn't last long. Things like that
Yeah.
happen. But this was a river that ran through, and the trauma response for Thunder in that moment, it's like, we're out. Then we're done.
Yeah. Wrap it up, people. Let's go.
Yeah, I think even the dog like looked at me like, we're not doing this again.
We're not
right?
doing
Like
this
we're not
again.
we're not gonna
No.
do this.
No, let's go.
But
Let's go.
even though like that was like a high stress. I mean, when I'm telling you like
Yes.
everything was soaking wet, everything was soaking wet, right? Like we didn't have anything dry to put on or anything, like everything had to
Yeah.
get dried out. And so that could have been a high stress, kind
Yeah.
of ruin the taste or leave a bad taste for camping in your mouth. It could have been,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
definitely one of the most comical camping
Yes.
experiences, just because everyone was on edge and it's like, we aren't doing this again.
No,
No one. We're all
we're
on the same page.
done.
We're like, we're done. We don't care. We'll do s'mores at home.
But I think that that's, if you can find humor and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's such a better way to go
A
than,
hundred percent.
getting upset and angry. Like you have no control over the
No.
rain, the
No.
thunder. I mean, getting angry is not going to do anything,
No.
but making it at least funny, I think is the
Yes.
best way to do it.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I feel like because we often people watch in the places that
Oh,
we go. I
yes.
didn't people watch a lot, but there were people that were behaving in ways that caught my attention. Like I wasn't trying to people watch this past weekend. But it's so interesting, like how people will still like a couple of things. You'll see two types of people. The people that, or a couple types, the people that like just settle in, like we're camping, very zen, let's
Yep.
chill, it's great.
Yep.
The other people that are so high strung because we're
Yeah.
camping, we've got 2.5 days and we're going to do everything in 2.5 days and it's go, go, go. And everybody's stressed and, biting each other's heads off and all of that. So you still
Yeah.
see like the stress of the city or whatever that regular way of life that carries on with them. And then you have the people that like, I don't know how they live in their normal life, but it's like so free spirited that it's like they want to live in this danger zone that I don't know why. And it's with everything. Like, can we make a bigger fire? Maybe I need to go jump off that cliff. Oh, let me taste this berry. I'm sure it's delicious. Like they
It's
live in
totally
that
fine.
danger zone. Yes.
Oh, there's a moose. Let me go pet it.
Let me
get a
go
selfie.
touch it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. We hear those stories. There's always someone where it's like, oh yeah, someone was, attacked by a moose,
Yeah.
and we know why. It's because they wanted to get that super good selfie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
or they got a little too close to the edge for the moment, for the gram. You be careful.
Yes.
Be careful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I
So
love that.
what is the story that you remember that kind of brings back
Oh
the most memories
gosh.
or just a funny one? I find
It's funny. I have a memory from my younger years, and it was my dad and his younger sister, and my brother and I, and my aunt's two boys. And so I'm close to one age, and my brother's close to the other
perfect.
cousin.
Everyone
And
has a
so
place
we
to
get
go.
there,
Yes.
and we're far away from home because we were going to do a rafting trip one day. So anywhere we're out on a lake, whatever. And we get there, and my dad's like, "All right, here's the deal. Didn't bring tents for you guys. There's tarp, there's string, everyone for themselves." And I'm thinking my aunt is from Atlanta and from the city. And I'm like, I didn't know how old I was, but I was like
Yeah.
at maybe 11, 12.
Yeah.
And maybe I was older. I don't remember. I don't know. I know I was young where I wouldn't know if you dropped me in the woods how to take care of myself, for
With a
goodness.
tarp and a string. And
Yeah.
good luck. Have
And
at
so
it.
my
Yes.
dad, because he had been in the military, has one of these sleeping bags that at the end of the sleeping bag has like a little, one of those poles you put in it, like you do a
Oh,
tent.
yes. Like
And
the
so it's
solo
like its
tents.
own
Yes.
little individual sleeping tent thing.
Mm-hmm.
Took him like 3 minutes to set up, and he's like, "All
Mm-hmm.
right, I'm done."
Yeah.
And I'm just
Those
like,
I
"What
think those are
the?"
like those cliff tents, when people sleep on the side of
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're all just like, "What the hell?"
The
And
rest of
so
you.
my brother and cousin that was similar to his age was like, "Let's go." They took an axe and we were like, "Let's go build a cabin." Okay. So that's the story. And so my aunt and my other cousin and I, the younger ones, she's like, okay, let's figure this out. So we put a string between two trees, throw a tarp over it, and then a tarp on the ground. And we're like, we'll just put our sleeping bags and we'll
Oh,
just sleep under this tarp.
yes.
So everyone, the teepee that the boys made, cabin was a teepee that the boys made out of sticks that they cut, blah, blah, was done. And we are done. We have dinner. It gets dark. We all go to bed. And so what we didn't realize is where we put ours, the tarp, it was on a hill.
Uh-huh.
And so you either slept like with your feet, your head up and your feet down, and you just slid right down off the tarp, or you did it sideways and then you just were rolling
Everyone's
over.
rolling.
Okay. My brother and my other cousin end up coming back because what they didn't take into consideration that they didn't see if they could even fit in the teepee,
Oh,
which they could not.
but your dad knew this when he looked
Oh,
at it.
no, I don't think he even went and looked at it because they
Oh,
kind of did it off, like off away from all of us because, they're building a
I
cabin
kind
or
of like it.
whatever.
I kind of like
And
this
so
actually.
they end up sleeping on the hill with my aunt, and my other cousin and I end up sleeping in the back of this station wagon because we had one of the old station wagons with the back
Genius.
door. So none of us got any sleep that night except for my dad. I don't think my his sister has forgiven him for that. But
No.
the level of shenanigans and
Yes.
saying that, oh yeah, y'all are on your own. No,
Yeah.
what? No.
Yeah. She's
We're
probably
children.
thinking like you are such a jerk, right? Because that's a sibling
Absolutely.
piece of it. And I can
Absolutely.
understand, like, let's do it for the kids so that they can learn these survival skills, right? Like, I kind of like it. It reminds me of like when my girls,
Give them
both of them got there.
supplies.
That's it. You had string
Come
and a
on.
tarp.
Directions. I don't know. Something. Throw us a bone.
I feel like if you had a gust of wind or any type of weather element that would
Anything.
have impacted your camping, that trip would have ended
Oh,
very different. That's
oh, we would have all been crammed in the back of the
in
station
the
wagon.
station wagon.
So, note to self, if you're ever going on a trip with your family, make sure that you have a tent,
Yes.
cot,
Yes.
pad, all of those things.
Exactly.
Because
Well, you
so
learned
that
the
was
lesson.
yeah, that was like from my childhood. I have one from when I was the adult in it, and it was my daughter and her husband, and Dylan and I, and
Yeah.
we had this wild idea. Let's go camping in Red Feather in October.
Oh,
Because that sounds like a good idea. We've
I,
got little tent heaters, blah, blah, blah. So we get up there and the wind started blowing.
uh-huh.
So Dylan and I get in our tent, and Gwen and her husband have a teepee. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
it's very nice, and they've got a
Mm-hmm.
great heater, and it's a great design, blah, blah, blah. Well, I just have one of those tents that you like press a button and it pops up.
Yeah, like a little
And
easy peasy Coleman. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and I
Yes.
have the little heater that just keeps falling over, and so it turns off, falling over.
Oh,
When I say the wind picked up, and of course I went to bed and I had like long underwear, leggings, sweatpants, three pairs of socks, sweater,
yeah.
sweatshirt, jacket, hat, gloves. Dylan is in like his boxer shorts. And I'm like, you might want to have some more clothes on. No,
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm fine. So that wind starts to pick up. And every time it did, it would collapse the tent on us. So we're both like having to get out and like
Pop it.
push it back up.
Yeah.
We were up the entire night. We absolutely froze our asses off.
Yes.
We wouldn't wake up in the morning and we're thinking, okay, the wind will be done. No, it was blowing so hard that we couldn't even make coffee, which is the best part of camping.
Exactly. It is. Yes.
So we get into Gwen and Chris's tent because we're like, we'll just hang out in your tent. Well, it'll warm up, the sun will come up, blah, blah, blah. I get out of the tent and our tent is no longer there. So our tent with the cots in it lifted off the ground,
And
and
blew and
I
relocated somewhere else.
in Wyoming most likely. And I'm like, what the? And so we very, very quickly packed all of everything up. We didn't even put stuff down. We're like, just pack it up. We are gone.
We're done. We're
Are
out.
done.
We're done. Yes.
That was awful. And we laughed our asses off. But then we came home, we're like, let's just do a camping at home. I was like, we got all
Oh
this great
yeah.
food. we'll make s'mores, we'll do a camp out. And so we just did a camp out at a camping trip at home. But oh my gosh. So when somebody asked me, do you want to do October camping? I'm like, that's
no. October camping in Colorado is questionable. You're not sure what you're going to get. And listen, the other thing, Red Feather likes, the fact that you're doing that in October, the first thing that came to mind was not the wind. That's the time of year that the bears are trying to like fatten everything up so they can go hibernate.
I'm glad I didn't know that. So glad I did not realize that. So we did not get eaten, but did I die? No, none of us died. We did not get eaten by a bear, but that's it. Could have ended badly. So camping.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, listen for our listeners. This is what you get when we are just prepping on a whim.
This is what you get from us.
Listen, I'm sure that you all have picked up. Like, there's never a dull moment in our lives. Like, this is just what we do. But I think that that's what keeps it exciting. It's what creates those memories. It's definitely what helps in molding resiliency because, again, any of those situations, we could have spent time in that space. Like, woe is me. Oh my gosh, I'm out. Like, you never talked about the lost tent. You're like, oh, I guess we're done here. Let's. You could go into the money that you've invested, the time lost, the lack of sleep. Like, you can go into all of those things, but that's not what's going to help build up your resiliency. No. So at the end of the day, take all of these moments, these small things, because these are just small things in this.
And just ask yourself, how would Pam and Natalie respond to this situation?
I think that should go on a shirt.
That should go.
There's that.
How would Pam and Natalie respond? I think you just ask yourself that question when stuff is hitting the fan.
Yes.
Ask yourself that question. What would we do?
What would we do? What would we do?
What would we do? And we would probably laugh and do a podcast episode about it.
We would laugh. There would be a plan. Everyone would be okay. It's going to be fine.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, did you die? No,
did you die?
We did not.
Now, listen, don't go out there doing anything dangerous.
Don't be nothing crazy, because that's not who we are. We do not do crazy things.
No, I like to stay adjacent to adventure and away from dangerous adventure.
Yes.
So that's where I live.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, until next time, we will look forward to sharing some more funny and crazy and adventurous things. We do have some amazing guests lined up for the next couple of weeks. So we are looking forward to bringing those episodes to you. And if you want more information about us and what's going on in our world, head on over to reigniteresilience.com. Until next time, we will see y'all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.